hamburgers are the perfect way not to waste meat. I know a lot of folks that take their back straps, their loins and quarters, but basically waste everything else. I could see doing this if you have to pack out meat a great distance, but not when you're 30 minutes from camp or from your truck. The newer gutless method of cleaning a deer is becoming extremely popular among many hunters today because it's really fast and easy, but it also promotes a lot of wasted meat. So I only use it if I have to hike a long way out. And addition to making hamburger meat, the trimmings of the unglorified parts of the deer can also be made into sausage or used to make chili. So today, I'm going to be making hamburgers out of trimmings from a black-tailed deer I shot on the central coast of California. Out of all the deer species in North America, these coastal blacktails are by far the most delicious in my opinion. These guys eat a great diet of sweet berries, acorns, leaves, and grasses, and they tend to pack on a good amount of fat for your average deer. To put it bluntly, animals are what they eat. Well, at least they kind of taste like what they eat. Bears that mostly eat sweet berries and flowers and honey taste absolutely fantastic. But by the same token, bears that are out eating rotten fish or old carrion, they're going to taste like ass. Even with the deer species, desert or plains mule deer taste very gamey because of all the sagebrush that they eat. But high mountain or forest mule deer, usually taste fantastic. Anyways, these little Colombian black-tailed deer I'm going to make burgers out of today are the best when it comes to eating. Now, the first thing you need to remember, whether you're taking your meat to a butcher or you're grinding meat yourself, is that when you're making hamburger meat, you need fat. I prefer a ratio of 80% deer meat to 20% pork fat. A lot of home butchers add bacon to the mix, bacon tips, when they're doing their grinding. But whatever you do, don't use beef fat. It won't come out right. You want your hamburgers to be juicy and flavorful, and that's where the fat comes into play. Also, never mix in salt or seasonings with your ground meat. If you do this, it's going to taste more like sausage instead of hamburger meat. We'll be adding the seasoning to the outside of the patties after we form them. Also, when you're making your patties, don't highly compress them or smash them down. You want this meat to be kind of loose in there so it retains all the juices and pockets within the meat. So remember, you're not making meatballs. Don't really highly compress it when you're making hamburger patties. And here's a few really nice patties I created out of this deer meat. Then I got some really fresh vegetables from my garden, and I slice them thin. Too many people pile up big, thick toppings on their burger, and they completely mask the flavor of the burger when they do that. Remember, that big chunk of venison between the buns is the centerpiece of the meal. Not a half-inch thick slice of tomato or half a head of lettuce. So be minimalist with your toppings. A lot of people add mushrooms too, but I don't have any today. So it's time to get the burgers on the Traeger now. And let's get this party started. Once I put the patties on the grill, I add seasoning. Most people use salt, garlic powder, and black pepper, which is great, but I like to take the easy way out and use Montreal seasoning, which is already a mix of salt, garlic powder, and pepper already. And once I flip these burgers, I'll go ahead and season the other side. In addition, sometimes, not just on hamburgers, but when I'm cooking venison in general, I really like this venison rub. And since this is a coronavirus self-isolating video, you know, what better way to make your burgers than with a nice cold Corona? We got the fries cooking in the air fryer. Yum, yum. We have this maple bacon on the grill cooking right now for these burgers. Love me some maple bacon. The next thing we need to consider is buns. You know, real men love them some nice buns. Don't get those generic Wonder Bread type buns that you see in the cellophane wraps on the shelves. Go to the bakery section of your market and get yourself some real buns. You know, freshly baked Kaiser buns are perfect for a good venison burger. You know, even some ciabatta buns or something like that. But go to the bakery section and get some real buns. You know, and I like to toast my buns. So melt a little bit of butter and brush it onto the insides of the buns. You know, you don't have to be sparingly here either. And don't forget to get all the edges so the edges don't burn while you're grilling it. Put the buns on the grill at medium heat and physically watch the buns closely. You know, you want to pull them off just as they get that golden brown. And see, that's more or less what you're looking for right there. This is done. So grill them to whatever level you like. I personally like mine done medium. But whatever you do, never squish the burgers down with your spatula like you see a lot of people do. That's basically sacrilege in the barbecue world. You know, it releases all those flavorful juices that keep your burger from tasting dry. So never squish your burgers down with a spatula. When your burger has about a minute left to cook, add cheese to it. In my household, we only allow pepper jack. So we added some fresh cut steak fries cooked in the air fryer by my wife, and you're ready for the perfect venison burger. You know, so the next time you think about wasting wild game meat, remember this video, because this meal was made from pieces of meat that many hunters leave behind.